Crumb! I need to shave. It's not working. I think we'll just use movie magic. Much better. Alright, well, no fancy intro because I just want to get right into it. Conan the Adventurer, Season 1 of the early 90s animated series, available now on DVD from Shout Factory in a snazzy 2-disc set, and that's what we're going to talk about today on the Multimedia Chronicles. Welcome back. Well, okay, Conan the Adventurer. Now, as I mentioned in some other recent videos, I've been on a bit of a Conan kick lately, and I mentioned this on my Facebook page as well. By the way, if you're not on it yet, what are you waiting for? Just go. Just do it. Anyway, this was probably my first sort of major introduction to Conan. Yeah, I had seen the two Arnold Schwarzenegger movies back when I was far too young to really get into them, but this was my first real sort of meaty experience with the character, which is kind of funny because, I mean, it's a very watered-down version of the character, obviously, especially given that I've been reading a lot of the original Robert E. Howard stories recently, and yeah, they're way more violent and full of blood, guts, and bodacious, naked, big-breasted, bouncing babes. Yeah, you really don't get that in this. I remember seeing I think it was a bootleg torrent of this a while back, and one of the comments was, "Whoa, I didn't know there was an animated Conan series. I bet there's going to be lots of blood and guts and naked women." And I was just like, yeah, no, you're not going to find that with this one. Now, Conan the Adventurer has not had very many video releases over the years. We had one VHS tape many moons ago from good old Malifilm. I always meant to pick this one up, but I just didn't. I never got around to it. And I think it only had like 4 episodes on it. It was like the first 4 episodes, and that was it. But then over in the land down under, they actually got the complete series across 16 single-disc volumes, each having 4 episodes apiece. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I often talk about 65 being the magic episode number for syndication for cartoons in the 80s and 90s, and in many respects 65 still is the magic syndication number, because that way when you have 65 episodes, you can show it 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, on a 13-week rotation, which means you can show each episode 4 times in a 52-week season. So why then did Conan stop at 64 episodes? It's very strange. It kind of bucked the trend there. And the thing that's cool about Conan the Adventurer is, yeah, sorry, I didn't actually get all the covers because for some reason, even though it was a pretty popular release, the covers are hard to come by. Anyway, the thing that was interesting about Conan was it actually had not only a lot of continuity throughout the series and ongoing storylines and whatnot, but it actually has a proper finite ending. Yes, it is a self-contained 64-episode story. So it has a beginning, a very long middle, and an end. So cool. It's not very often that that animated shows from that era would actually get the opportunity to do a proper ending for the series, so it was nice to see that Conan did. So for a long time, the only complete series release we had was the Australian release, which you had to either, you know, find a downloadable version online if you're not in Australia, or track down the individual volumes. But I mean, that's 16 volumes. That's going to take up a lot of shelf space. So now we have this snazzy set from Shout Factory. Now this is the first season. The first season was only 13 episodes. The second season was the remaining 51 episodes. So this is only 13 episodes. I'll just give you a quick look at the inside here. I'll just make sure we got everything nice and straight. So we have Disc 1, which has 7 episodes on it, and Disc 2, which has 6 episodes on it. There are no extras. And then on the inside, we actually have a list of the episodes that are on all right? Yeah, nice, obscured by the hub, that's always great. So we have the list of the episodes that are on each disc. And that kind of gets into some of the problems with this set. Yeah, I have to be brutally honest. This set is not up to the usual high standard of quality that we've come to expect from Shout Factory. Now, in terms of picture quality, it looks fine. You know, it's obviously been mastered from the original 1-inch broadcast master tapes, and it looks great, you know, and it sounds great. You know, audio is loud and clear and consistent throughout. No problems with the audio or the video. Absolutely no problems whatsoever. It looks and sounds every bit as good as I expected it to, and I'm sure it's as good as it's ever going to look and sound, because as I've discussed on many occasions previously, I really should do a video just dedicated to this subject so I can just refer people to it. A lot of shows from this era do not exist in complete form on film, which is why we won't see a lot of them on Blu-ray, ever. They only exist in complete form on standard definition broadcast videotapes. Now, it's not VHS tapes. Okay, a lot of people think, oh, it's just from VHS. No, VHS was not a broadcast standard format. Okay, VHS was the crappiest, lowest quality format of video ever created and brought to market. And, of course, it was the most popular. But that's a whole other story for another time. No, broadcast videotape is comparable to DVD quality. It's basically like crisp, clean, perfect DVD quality. So it's pretty much the same resolution, slightly higher resolution, but basically you're looking at, think of the most perfect DVD you've ever seen. That's basically what broadcast quality video is like. Just to put it into terms that are easily understandable. So with Conan here, okay, we got the front cover, which looks very nice, and the back cover doesn't look so nice. Let's actually get some scans going here. So here's the front cover. You know, some people were bitching and moaning, like, oh, the front cover doesn't look very good. Like, what are you, art critics? It looks fine. It looks fine. It looks suitably epic. You got Conan up on the mountaintop. You got a mountain of skulls behind him, and Ravamon looming up out of the clouds. I think that's an awesome cover. What the hell are you complaining about? And it has the logo on it, so that works for me. You know, I have no issues with that cover whatsoever. Until we flip around to the back. Okay, so you got Needle floating all happy above the, you know, rotting remains of fallen foes. That's quite lovely. But then look at the screenshots. Look at the screenshots on the back there. I mean, that looks like they were taken from an old VHS tape. I'm sorry. I mean, if you're like looking at this in the store, and ideally I would think you would want the pictures on the back to represent the product accurately or make it look even better than it is. But these look like they were just quickly ripped off of the show and slapped on the back, and they're terrible quality. I mean, the middle one especially with Zula Snag and Jessamine there, it looks all fuzzy and out of focus. Like, do you really want pictures like that representing your product? I mean, that just doesn't make sense to me. Okay, so, well, let's open it up. Let's go inside here. I talked about how the contents of the discs are listed. Well, I won't bother taking that one out. Well, let's look at the scan here, and I'll read along with you. So we have Disc 1, The Night of Fiery Tears, Blood Brother, Star of Shadizar, Conan the Gladiator, The Heart of Rakir, Men of Stone, and The Terrible Toranon. And, sorry, I guess I do have to take it out. And on Disc 2, Grey Wolf of Xanthus, Shadow Walkers, The Claw of Heaven, The Serpent Riders of Set, Windfang Zeri, and 7 Against Stygia. Cool! Sounds pretty good, eh? Except that's not even close to the order they're on the discs. They've got Disc 1 episodes listed as Disc 2 and vice versa. It is a complete freaking mess. In fact, I have some notes here. Here's the order that the episodes are actually on the discs. Disc 1, we have The Night of Fiery Tears, Blood Brother, Star of Shadizar, Grey Wolf of Xanthus, Shadow Walkers, Conan the Gladiator, and The Heart of Rakir. And Disc 2, we have The Claw of Heaven, Windfang Zeri, Men of Stone, The Serpent Riders of Set, The Terrible Toranon, and 7 Against Stygia. That's not even close to how they're listed on the packaging. Now, that said, the order that they're on the discs is actually much closer to proper continuity order than the who knows what the hell order it is that's listed on the inside of the packaging. But it doesn't stop there. No, there are some serious quality control issues with how this set was put together. Somebody was really asleep at the switch. Let's head over to the computer here and take a look at the menus, shall we? Okay, welcome to the computer. The computer's right in front of me here. Alright, so let's take a look. So first off, we'll take a look at the title cards from the actual episodes and compare the titles of the episodes as they appear in the episodes themselves to how they appear in the menus. Okay, first up we have The Night of Fiery Tears, written by Christy Marks. She wrote a lot of Gem, which is also coming out on DVD from Shout Factory very soon. A little bit of trivia for you. So then on the DVD menu, under the episode listings, let's take a look here. We have, as episode 1, The Night of Fiery Tears. Fiery? Is that even a word? Let's carry on, shall we? Episode 2, Blood Brother. As it appears in the menu, Blood Brothers. Unnecessary pluralization. Episode 3, Star of Shadowzar. As it appears in the menu, The Stars of Shadowzar. Again, with the unnecessary pluralization and the equally unnecessary addition of the word the. Next up we have Grey Wolf of Xanthus. And in the menu it's The Grey Wolf of Xanthus. Again, an unnecessary the. It's like whoever wrote the menu didn't know anything about the episodes and didn't actually bother to look at the title cards. Like somebody just gave them a list of episodes and they did their own interpretation from that list. Plus didn't know how to spell fiery. Grey Wolf of Xanthus, or The Grey Wolf of Xanthus, is not literally about a grey wolf that lives in Xanthus. No, it is about Grey Wolf, who lives in Xanthus. Grey Wolf is the name of a man who is a wizard, who lives in the city of wizards, Xanthus. Now, to further add to the confusion, they show Sasha and Misha in the picture there, who are, of course, grey wolves. But they are not the Grey Wolf of Xanthus. Okay, carrying on. Episode 5, Shadow Walkers, which is a really fun episode. It's basically Conan meets up with a clan of ninjas. And in the menu, Shadow Walker. Sure you don't want that to be Shadow Walkers'? And miraculously, the other 2 episodes, Conan the Gladiator and The Heart of Rakir, are fine. They are the correct titles. And the remaining 6 episodes on Disc 2 are the correct titles as well. But okay, let's put this into perspective. That is 5 out of 7 titles in the menus that are wrong. And some of them are grievously wrong. Fiery? To actually double check those titles in the menu against their corresponding title cards, for me personally, navigating the DVD menus and going back and forth that way took me about 5 minutes. So this set has been in development at least since April of this year. So that's, let's see, April, May, June, July, August. 5 months. Sometime in that 5 months, someone didn't think to double check the text on the titles? I'm sorry, but this, I mean, it pisses me off because it's just little, stupid, annoying things that just scream of laziness on the part of whoever was developing the menus. Because the menus themselves look great. They're beautifully done menus. There's a, you know, somebody on the Shout Factory team did a great job doing the actual graphics for the menu. I mean, it looks terrific. But whoever did the text really didn't know what the hell they were doing. A, they had no familiarity with the episodes or just didn't care. B, they didn't proofread their work. Now, it's not like you're proofreading a fucking novel here. It's 13 episodes. 13 titles of 13 episodes. So, like, 13 things. 13 tiny little phrases. It's not a novel! So I mean, there's really no excuse for that. It's just, the only conclusion I can come to is the menus were done quite late in the production process, and they were rushing to get the product out on the shelves to coincide with the release of the new Conan movie and the re-release of the Schwarzenegger movies on Blu-ray. Now, it was timed very well in terms of release. We had Conan the Adventurer come out one week, we had the 2 Blu-rays of the Schwarzenegger movies come out the following week, and just a few days from now, we have the new movie coming out. So, pretty obvious marketing strategy, but really sloppy quality control, and I'm very disappointed about that. Can you tell? I guess I'll just finish it up here. Change of scenery. Stack of movies I'm watching. Oh, and you don't know what some of those are, so we'll just turn them that way so you... There. Okay. I haven't updated those ones yet. Well, most of them I have, but there's a few that I haven't. So yeah, I mean, it's frustrating when it's just something so simple like that. Now, as I said, the quality of the episodes themselves are fine. However, there is another minor issue. The episode listing on the inside of the insert, nobody seems to be able to conclude what order that is. The general consensus seems to be that the order of the episodes on the discs is air date order. Now, air date order is not necessarily meant to be followed, because Conan was a syndicated show. And when a show is in syndication, that means there is no set rhyme or reason to what order the individual stations who purchase the show have to show them in. No, they buy the show outright for a certain period of time to show on their station. And while they have it, they can show it in whatever order they damn well please. That's the whole beauty of syndication. You can rearrange episode orders however you want to fit in with your own personal style or, you know, station or whatever. Or you can just show them in the order that they show up on the tapes. So that means that whatever episode guides that are out there that list air date order, how the fuck do they know? Because it's going to be different everywhere else on the face of the planet. So I had fans arguing with me about continuity on Shout Factory, saying, well, you know, this site and that site says the air date order is this and that. It's like, well, great, that's the air date order wherever the hell whoever wrote that episode guide lives. That doesn't mean it's the air date order where you lived, or where I lived, or where Joe Blow lived. You know, air date order doesn't matter for something like this. Production order probably matters even less, because it's an animated show and chances are they were producing several episodes simultaneously. So how do you figure that out? Just go by production numbers? That's meaningless. That means nothing. No, clearly the only logical order for a show like this, especially something with such clear apparent continuity as Conan the Adventurer, is continuity based. Now that said, as I mentioned earlier, the order that they appear on the discs is largely continuity based. However, there are a few glaring errors, again indicating that whoever decided on the episode order was just going by one of these arbitrary fan-made episode guides that mean nothing, instead of actually watching the episodes and figuring out the actual continuity, or maybe, I don't know, consulting with fans about it. I mean, there was very little communication with the fans on this particular set. Again, something that disappoints me because it is not up to the usual standard that we expect from Shout Factory. You know, it drives me crazy. It's like, make up your mind. Either you're going to communicate with the fans and offer input back and forth to make it a better set for the fans who are the people buying it, or don't, you know? I mean, it's like, don't be one way for some releases and another way for other releases. You know, there was very little communication on this set, and people had been, as soon as the set had been announced, fans had been saying on the boards, please put it in story continuity order, like right off the bat. That was the first thing that fans said, was please put the episodes in continuity order, air date and production order be damned, base it on story continuity. But that's a whole other story, which we're going to have to save till next time, because I've already rambled far too long already. Now, after all that ranting and raving, the big question is, do I consider this set worth getting? Absolutely 100% yes. Now, a lot of the points that I made and problems that I have with this set are, to be fair, nitpicky points. And while we're on the subject of nitpicky points, I just remembered another one. Remember how I mentioned how beautiful looking the menus are, aside from the spelling errors? Yes, they are quite nice, and they use the Conan the Adventurer theme song. But one thing I found odd was that they used the version of the theme song from the opening titles. Now, the reason I mention that is the same theme song, with the same lyrics and the same cues and everything, is used for the opening titles and the closing titles. The difference is the opening title version has sound effects because it's got a lot of action sequences going on during the opening titles. And so all the sound effects are blended in with the music, and the animation is timed with the music, so a lot of the sound effects occur in time with the music. But the version that's on the ending credits is exactly the same. It even has the same visuals running in the background with the titles overlaid, but it doesn't have the sound effects. Now, for the menu, they don't have the actual title sequence playing in the background. They have some scenes and some clips and stuff playing, but they're not all necessarily from the opening title sequence, and certainly not timed to go with the music. But they chose to use the version of the song with the sound effects in it. So it's like you have all these sound effects going on and no action on screen that corresponds to it. Or, if anything, action that looks ridiculous with those particular sound effects. For example, there's a part where a guy screams. He goes like, "Ah!" because Conan chucks him in the opening titles. And like, well, while the menu's going, there's like nothing going on, and you just hear this guy, "Ah!" for no reason. And if you leave the menu looping, it gets kind of ridiculous really quickly. So what I don't understand is why didn't they just use the clean version for the menu? That's what I would have done. You know, I mean, it just seems ridiculous to have the sound effects in there without the visuals that go with it. So that's my nitpicky points. So, menu music should have been the closing title music. Check your damn spelling errors on the menus, and check your actual episode order before printing the insert. Alright, so that said, get it. Despite the problems, get it. They've already scheduled Season 2, Part 1, which is going to be the next 13 episodes, so it looks like they're splitting it up into 5 volumes total. The fact that they're doing it in smaller sets means it's more likely that they'll keep doing them because they don't have to sell as many to recoup their costs. However, they still have to sell in order to recoup their costs and make it worth continuing. So if you like the show, buy it. Buy it. Shout Factory has been made painfully aware of the errors with this particular volume, and I am quite confident that they will not repeat those mistakes on the second volume. I really hope I don't eat my words on that, but they have been made aware. They are aware. Okay. That said, you know, the problems really are minor and don't affect the enjoyment of the show. I mean, I actually watched this whole thing. What is it? I originally announced that it was being released on July 26th. I bought it on July 27th and then watched the entire first disc that night. And then the following morning, with my coffee, I watched the entire second disc. And then I went through the whole set again, taking notes along the way, because I wanted to talk about the continuity of the episodes, which we'll talk about next time. And that will be a much shorter episode because there's not as much to say, and I think I've pretty much covered everything. So, Conan the Adventurer on Region 1 DVD at last, courtesy of the fine folks at Shout Factory. Get it, love it, and get the rest of them too. Alrighty, that's it from me to you for now, so until next time, thanks for watching, and sayonara.